Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa's plan to centralize the national vaccination campaign and vaccine procurement within the state has been met with mixed reaction. And Southern Africa Agriculture Initiative says the Agricultural Department does not have the capacity to manage the epidemic through central control. In a State of the Address Nation, President Cyril Ramaphosa also declared foot and mouth disease as a national disaster. Ramaphosa says the economic impact of the disease on the country has been quite significant. And to further this discussion, let's now welcome AgriSA CEO, Mr. Johann Kotzé. Johann, thank you so much for your time today. So welcome. So we know that some farmers have expressed quite mixed reactions, mostly outrage, right? But as AgriSA, what are your thoughts on the President's plans on containing FMD? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I think the first thing is there's focus. And I think what we appreciate of what the President said is the fact that he declared it as a disaster. So it means that they reckon that we are in a crisis and it's beyond the capacity of the state itself and beyond the capacity of farmers. So a renewed focus and hopefully a lot of implementation that would help us to just get hold of and stop the disease.
Absolutely. Speaking of renewed focus, Johann, long and short term, this plan seeks to centralize the rollout plan, obviously, but we know that the production is still largely behind, with the ARC producing domestic capability in a long time, being forced to produce at least 20,000 doses per week. And of course, the needed 28 million vials just to deal with the current breakout is way too much, meaning that government is still going to be forced to outsource from countries like our neighbors in Botswana. So what do you propose as alternatives then?
So short term, we said to the President itself, it's like Rome burning, and what do? We don't have enough in country itself, so we need to go and outsource outside. So they did a lot of good work, and there's 1 million coming in from Argentina, and hopefully another 5 to 6 million in the next month. Then there's a possible 1.5 million coming in from Turkey, and also 5-6 million with the ability to bring it in. So I think for the short term, there's no chance that we would be able to manufacture specifically for the outbreaks that we have, manufacture it in country itself. We also have good standing with Botswana, but they also broke with foot and mouth, so also not enough from Botswana. So if we have a look on where we are today, we need to solve the issue as is. And for that, you need to have outside vaccines coming into South Africa. You need to centralize it purely for the sake of being able to have the same kind of framework throughout all the provinces itself. And the next thing is you need to bring in private vets, private people to help and assist with the outbreaks and help and assist with the vaccination. So the first plea was to say, Mr. President, we need to put as much as we can from the vaccines from overseas into our herds and make sure that we keep and kind of break the stance of the virus itself. And then thereafter, there needs to be another vaccination. So it's 6 months, and then after 6 months, you need to do another vaccination. So that's about 14 million now, and 14 million to come in 6 months from now. And I think we had a meeting with the President on his request on Monday. There's a focus and an intent from him to make sure that he would help us and enable us through the declaring of a disaster in fighting the disease.
And we know that government, Johann, is still finalizing new and additional production facilities. But I mean, if farmers have lost millions, one quoted in Durban is saying they've lost up to 10 million rand financially and were broken emotionally. And they believe that without immediate access to the vaccines, the situation could still potentially get worse. How is AgriSA then still assisting with these affected farmers? I know you've spoken to the President, while of course they are wait for the government interventions, but they simply can't just wait and watch their livestock perish either.
Yeah, I think there is one or two things you can do on farm itself. And I think what happened in social media and with all the bad news that's going on is it looks like the farmers lost hope and they just wait for the disease to happen. So proper ways of looking into biosecurity can still help. And we need to focus on that. So just one or two comments on what you said. 10 million rand, a loss of 10 million is a lot. But somebody with 3 cows, losing all 3 of it, it's a wipeout to him. And the biggest hit on this thing is in the rural areas and the deep rural areas. And that's a massive concern to us because it's a direct impact on food security in South Africa, because that's where it starts. Food security doesn't start in Woolworths and Pick n Pay. It starts in the rural areas and where you have a lot of people depending on specifically livestock. So two things. I think there's a big push from us on government and to assist and help, not to criticize. We can criticize until we blue and find all the why we couldn't do it, but it doesn't help. But the next thing is to make sure that we do not lose hope as farmers. And I think the greatest drive from our side is to encourage our people to say, but we can fight this. We must fight it. We can't just wait for government. Government has a role to play, but as farmers, we can. And I think a lot of people took courage and a lot of people said, but yes, we can. And in saying it, it's not a revolt against government and it's not a thing to do your own thing. We can't. We need each other to overcome this. However, when I close my door, I'm the president of my house. And what's happening inside is my responsibility. And I need to make sure that my biosecurity is in good stands. I make sure that if I have a possible kind of case, acknowledge other people around me and tell them, listen, I'm not sure. So I think one of the things that we miss here, another law is not going to help us. It starts with ourselves. It starts with the farmers itself, and it's with the help of government, with the vaccination coming in. But it's more than just vaccination. It's the way we live. It's the way that we farm. And what I can say is, it's tough. It's tough for us as farmers, but we're not going to lose heart. And we're going to fight as hard as we can, not against each other, but against this virus.
Wise words there, Johann. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, sir, and good luck, of course, with the scourge of FMD. That is Mr. Johann Kotzé, the AgriSA CEO, with his input, of course, on the current FMD outbreak, as well as the president's plans to centralize a vaccine rollout.